Hello and welcome to Banana Republic Adventures. Today we are going to put an addition to the Gladiator where we went ahead and ordered the Steer Smart. We have a little bit of a shimmy in the front end. It's not like a really bad death valve or anything, but a lot of things that I've read have said, to go ahead and put this on. I have a 2020 which has the aluminum steering box, so after that they went with the steel ones. I think that might be the cause, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it on to replace it. So we will get going here and get the tire off and share the process as we go. Alright, so I have the XKMG rims. I forget what the number is. I really need to get another one for my spare. However, I'm not really excited about these. Having to take a hubcap off of a rim to then get to the bolts. I would really not want to have to do all this in the field if I was out four-wheeling or overlanding. So I am going to look to potentially replace these. I really like the Rhino Armors, but I got to look and see if they have the same kind of hub setup. Or, sorry, the Armories. If they have the same kind of hub setup, then I'm not going to get them, but I'd rather just be able to get to my lugs. I don't want extra stuff to have to do out in the field when you're out having fun. Just would take too much time, and I just feel like it's unnecessary. So once I get these off, I'll show you the lugs. So obviously they're all locking as well, and we'll get the tire off and get things going. So you get in closer, you can see that these lugs are special lugs, so you gotta have a special wrench. Another thing I'm not a really big fan of, I get the security behind it, but I just always am concerned about damaging or losing this and all that kind of stuff. I'd rather have something that's definitely more uniform or standard. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this going, so it'll be a little bit loud, but we'll get these off and then we'll get back with you. Okay, so I've got the bolts all undone. I should have left some nuts on there, but I need to still jack this up. I'm going to do that now, and then we'll get the tire off. Okay, there we go. All right, so next we're going to undo this stabilizer bar here. That's why I put a jack stand underneath, just in case I need to pull this jack out of the way. Undo this, drop it down, and then we'll go for our knuckle here. That goes to the steering arm and the steering box. And we'll replace that with the new bolt. The bracket fits up in here. I'll show you that when I get everything off. These bolts here go through and over to the steering box. There's 4 of them, 2 there, 2 here. We'll get those off. And came with new hardware, so we'll put all the new bolts in. Okay. Okay, so oops. The twave arm is 21 inch. Obviously I can't get a power tool back there. I could probably come from the other side, but I'm just going to put this on here. And when it turns, it'll end up hitting where it needs to and grab. And I'm going to use an unscrew from this side. And there we go. I'm going to pull this out. That arm's going to drop. And a little bit of a challenge to get back in. But there we go. And so that has to come out of the way so we can get to that bolt under there. And that is a 42 millimeter, which I do not have. I found that like an 1 5/8 will fit. I do have a 42 millimeter ordered and it's on route, so if the 1 5/8 does not work, does not work, then we'll put the 42 millimeter on when it gets here. So it's supposed to show up today by 10 p.m., which is kind of late, but we're gonna try and get this done. So Steer Smarts, since I mean, when you order it and you go online, I printed this out just so I have it. You can use it on the phone as you can look at a PDF on the phone, but this way, if it's in my hands, I can take a look at it. So we've already taken off the track bar bolt and dropped that out of the way. They recommend taking a ratchet strap to pull the spring out of the way for the bolts that go to the steering box, but I don't think I need to do that. If I do, that's fine. I have toe straps. So we're going to now go for the steering box, the sector shaft. We're going to go for that bolt now and see if we can get that off. That is, I said, the 42 millimeter, but we think an 1 5/8 will fit. So we're going to try that first. If it doesn't, then we'll have to wait for the 42 millimeter to show up, the socket wrench that we ordered, which should be later today. All right, so the 1 5/8 socket did not fit, so just a hair too tight or small. So unfortunately, I got to wait for the 42 millimeter to show up. Couldn't find it in any of the hardware stores or auto parts stores in the area, so I ordered it last night. Should be here today. So once we get that, we will start the video back up and show you where we get. Okay, so the socket came. It's a 42 millimeter. It fits on there. I am having a little struggle with it. It's just tight, but struggling to get that thing off. So I'm gonna keep working on it and see if I can get it off with this, or if I need to get air gun or air wrench. Okay, so we got the sector bolt off. We put the new sector bolt on. There'll be a device that slides up over this. I went ahead and tightened it and put some paint there just to make sure that it doesn't move in the next month or so. I'll just keep checking it. And then we're going to go ahead and take the bolts off that are over here. And they are holding the steering box on. That's 2 there and 2 in there. So those are 18 millimeter. We'll get a tool set out here and get those off now.
We got 4 bolts and 2 washers.
Okay, so we're putting the bracket in. There it is, the Steer Smart. We took the jack and jacked. Obviously you can see there's a support there, and then we jacked the passenger side up a little so that we wouldn't really have to disconnect the sway bar, which then gave me plenty of room to get the original bolt out. Now the original bolts are 18 millimeter. These that came with the device are 19 millimeter heads. So just keep that in mind, and I'm going to pull back so you can get an idea where all this is. So we're going to get the other 2 bolts in just temporarily, get everything kind of snug, and then we will tighten up. Okay, so we've gotten the bolts in. The steering box is secured again to the Steer Smart bracket. Wasn't that difficult. Again, if you have to disconnect, then use it. I have a Rubicon, so I could have gotten in and done the sway bar disconnect, but I found it easy just to, again, jack that left side, passenger side up, and that made it tilt enough to drop this and get that bolt in. The washers are huge, so you have to hold the washer there and then put the bolt in here on this one and on this one up here, because this is all in the way. But other than that, went in real easy. We did put Loctite on the bolts. I'm doing that on everything just to make sure that we don't come loose. I will also, as I did with the bottom, put a little paint on there so I can tell if it moved or not. Okay, so next we installed the roller bearing over the sector shaft. You saw earlier I had this exposed. This bolts up to the sector shaft for the steering box. This then screws on to that. The bearing gets pushed up and screwed on from this screw, and there's one on the back side. Being mindful of this, it has an angle on this back side that goes to the back of the vehicle. The flat side goes to the front of the vehicle. Then there's a clamp, there's a C-clamp that goes around this, which I'm going to put on now. And then we just have to put the sway bar back in there. Okay, so we've got everything in. The sway bar is connected again. As you can see, I've taken some white paint. It's basically my the Gladiator is white, so I just use the same touch-up paint. But there you go. There's that, the sway bar. There is the new steering or steer smarts bracket. There are my bolts. And then it comes around to the back side, which I might not be able to get a good view of, but yeah, not really. Yeah, so anyhow, it's back there. The other bolt, the other, I guess, 2 bolts. So anyhow, that's the installation. So we got it all done. The steer smarts bracket is in. We had to wait for the 42 millimeter socket to come in from Amazon. It got here around 8:30, so it took a couple hours, maybe, not quite, to get it all done. Got to get the tire on next, which will be a little bit of a chore, but also wanted to say thanks to Jordan for helping. So here's Jordan back here putting stuff away. So thank you, Jordan, for helping out, getting things done. There's the tire behind me. We'll get that on, and then we will go test it on the road. It's already dark out, so won't get a lot of testing in, but at least we know it's done and complete. Now tomorrow I may also, after I drive around a little bit, take a look at the steering box screw on the top. Then there's a nut up there and a torque, I believe, that you can kind of just slightly adjust if you have any steering wheel play, which I have a little of. I'm kind of hoping this will help with that, but we will see. So if I don't get back to you, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.